Without CP, some worlds have their original owners returning, while others will not. Some new worlds have just formed, and many factors are unstable, which has caused many people who should have lived a happy and safe life to always end tragically due to certain reasons. Their resentment is raging, affecting the operation of the world. In order to eliminate these grievances, the Peak of the Gods has specially established a department and recruited many newly risen immortals. Shi Li is one of them. Due to his lack of connections and inability to find a decent job in the immortal world, he joined the profession of a vengeful master. With a working attitude of hard work and salary increase, he excelled in completing every task and became a god through experience in the task world. Chapter 1. The Empty Love Brain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shi Li opened her eyes and sat in front of the dressing table. A man looked at her coldly and said, "Jane Shirley, if you're sensible, hurry up and sign for divorce, or else you'll look good." Shi Li didn't even think about it and said, "I was already pretty." The man was stunned for a moment, but when he realized it, he felt a wave of disgust again. "Jane Shirley, don't you want to continue relying on me? I'm not afraid to tell you that Lily is pregnant with my child. No matter how you don't have the face to cling to me, I won't fall in love with you. Just die of this heart." "Oh, that's okay. Anyway, as long as this palace doesn't die, she can only be a mistress, and the child in his belly can only be an illegitimate child who can't be seen." Shi Li finished and teased the man with a smile. The man suddenly smiled and said, "This is because the previous method was useless, but now it's a different way. Let me tell you, Jane Shirley, it's useless. I love Lily, and you only make me feel nauseous. I advise you to sign the divorce as soon as possible, otherwise my patience will be limited. Fool, even if you have a few peanuts, you wouldn't get drunk like this and don't look in the mirror. Just you idiot, what can I see in you? I see what you can do. I advise you to get out of here if there's nothing else, don't force me to hit you." Although he knew that this woman was saying this to attract his attention, the man still couldn't bear it. No one dared to speak to him with such an attitude, and this woman the man approached and was about to pull at Shirley's hair, but Shirley cleverly dodged and grabbed the hand that the man had reached out for. With one force, the man collided with the dressing table. The quality of the dressing table was quite good, and there was nothing wrong with it, but the man was knocked unconscious. After he calmed down, he stood up and hit Shirley again. Shirley used the same method as before, pulling the person towards the wall and muttering, "The so-called method doesn't lie in being old-fashioned, just use it." Then he looked at the man again and asked, "Are you still here?" The man didn't speak, just lay on the ground without any image. Seeing the man not answering, Shirley was somewhat dissatisfied and kicked the dead dog lying on the ground. "Where am I asking you, mute?" The man looked up angrily at Shirley, still silent, but his gaze seemed to be about to kill someone. With a loud bang, Shirley slapped the man on the back of the head. "What's wrong with your gaze? You're not convinced, are you?" Shirley said, feeling a bit angry, and slapped him on the back of the head again. "Isn't it quite impressive just now? Get up, let's continue." The man's mind was buzzing, his head was so dizzy, he wanted to vomit. Finally, while the maid was cleaning, she passed by the door of the room and saw her husband lying on the ground unable to get up. Shirley didn't want to cause any harm, so she called an ambulance. 985, Teleportation Memory. "Okay, please wait a moment, Shangxian." Shi Li is a senior anti-resentment master in the Quickly Piercing Bureau. Originally, he was a small immortal who ascended from the lower realm. When he first ascended, he was still full of passion, hoping to make his way in the upper realm. "I just didn't expect that the immortal realm is also a place that talks about bloodline and human relationships." She rose up from the lower realm, so if you have hard work in your network, you still have hard work in your bloodline. No matter where she goes to apply for a job, the most talked about thing is that the position is already full. Even if there is one, it is still reserved for related households, except for the fairy maid. No matter what kind of person Shi Li used to be, as a cultivator, she is always respected wherever she goes. Now let her be a maid for others. Just as Shi Li was preparing to continue her career as a wandering immortal, she saw a job posting on a job advertisement. Eliminating resentment master. The benefits are all good, but the most important thing is career freedom, more work, more pay, and a guarantee. Shi Li didn't hesitate to apply for the job. Now that she has been working for so long, she has also changed from a low-level anti-resentment teacher to a high-level anti-resentment teacher. Now, those immortals in the immortal world cannot call her an immortal when they see her. However, Shi Li is not satisfied with this. If she wanted a position during her recent career advancement, now she has great ambitions. She wants to become a god, and then she can retire and enjoy divine life. And this is a modern world, where the original owner was a wealthy heiress. His mother passed away early, and although his father remarried later, he still treated her like a pearl, and his stepmother treated her fairly well. In fact, from this perspective, the original owner is still very happy. Unfortunately, she is a romantic brain who likes Zhao Qinyi, who also comes from a wealthy family. When Zhao's family had a financial loophole, she begged her father to agree to marry her and help her overcome the difficulties. However, Zhao Qinyi did not like her and treated her very coldly, but he did not do anything excessive. Until the father of the original owner passed away shortly after their marriage, the original owner inherited almost everything in the family, and the stepmother only had a small portion of fixed assets. At this time, the main reason was to have a clear mind, and the days would not be bad, but she was a romantic brain. When her stepmother said that successful men have a virtuous wife behind them, the original owner went home without hesitation and became a full-time wife, leaving the entire company to her stepmother to take care of. It took her stepmother a year to establish a foothold in the company, and Zhao Qinyi also had a showdown with the original owner a year later, saying that he liked her stepsister Li, who was already pregnant, and asked her to sign for divorce as soon as possible. The original owner didn't agree with anything, so Zhao Qinyi simply locked the person in the basement and tortured them. However, to the public, she said that the original owner divorced and went abroad, and they lived together as husband and wife. Later on, Li always fell ill in various ways, and her original body matched her. Zhao Qinyi never hesitated to excavate some of the original owner's organs, and in the end, the original owner was emptied and died on the operating table. The original owner's wish was to let Zhao Qinyi have nothing, and Li also tasted the feeling of being emptied. Shi Li is a bit speechless. Why does Zhao Qinyi have nothing, but Li want to taste the feeling of being hollowed out? It's not that Li shouldn't have been retaliated against like this, but is the retaliation against Zhao Qinyi too light? The original owner's love brain hasn't been cured yet, right? The system indicates that it is also difficult to understand. You need to ask clearly, otherwise I won't be able to do it. If my love brain isn't good enough, I won't take on this task. I won't be able to cross my love brain. Then I'll communicate with the original owner again. After a while, the system said, I asked, and the original owner said Zhao Qinyi is quite powerful, afraid you won't be able to compete. Who do you look down on? Shi Li said discontentedly, you go ask, if Zhao Qinyi is played dead or useless by me, is it okay? The original owner said to play casually, the system said happily. Zhao Qinyi was taken to the hospital, and soon the police arrived at her doorstep. Jian Shi Li, someone has reported to the police that you have caused bodily harm to others. Who is it? Shi Li said curiously. Zhao Qinyi. Shi Li still had an innocent expression on his face and said calmly, Zhao Qinyi and I are husband and wife. Chapter 2. Empty Love Brain 2. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The police officer was stunned for a moment before hearing Shi Li continue, we are just having a family conflict. Shouldn't we go to the street to handle this situation? However, it seems that the Women's Federation is also somewhat unsuitable. Because he was worried that the police wouldn't believe him, Shi Li even took out their marriage certificates to show them to the police. When the police heard it was a family conflict, they just verbally educated her to speak up and not resort to violence in the future. Shi Li nodded and said, "As long as he realizes his mistake and doesn't cheat in the future, I definitely won't take action against him." The police officer also thinks it makes sense, but after all, the responsibility lies, so we still need to advise a few words. This infidelity is certainly not right, but hitting someone is also not acceptable. Since hitting someone is not acceptable, how about divorce? The police officer stopped talking. With such a low marriage rate now, if you were to break up a couple, the crime would be huge. The final assault incident came to an end. The police officer told Zhao Qinyi, who was still hospitalized, the result and left. Before leaving, the look in his eyes was as disdainful as it was towards Zhao Qinyi and Yi Li. Zhao Chen was so angry that besides a headache, his chest also hurt. "Brother Qinyi, are you okay?" Ellie said anxiously. "It's okay," Zhao Qinyi said stiffly. The doctor said he may have had a concussion and asked him to stay in the hospital for observation. Now he only feels embarrassed. This time, he underestimated the enemy, which gave her an opportunity to take advantage. When he goes out, he must teach that slut a good lesson. Anyway, it's all a family conflict. Zhao Qinyi stayed in the hospital for 2 days before returning to the villa, holding a baseball bat in his hand, and walked confidently to the master bedroom on the 2nd floor. Shi Li was originally using a computer to do things, but when she felt Zhao Qinyi's arrival, she stopped what she was doing. "What is this?" Zhao Qinyi remained silent and picked up his baseball bat before smashing it at him. This time, with a force of 10 to 10, the person who was hit must enter the ICU. But just as the baseball bat was about to hit Li, she dodged on her side. Before Zhao Qinyi could react, Li kicked him in the leg and threw him into a mess. Zhao Chen showed a twisted expression of pain on his face, but he didn't get up from the ground for a while. He could only shout angrily. "Hurry up, someone! Are you moving reinforcements?" Shi Li reported to the police very decisively. "Is that Uncle Police?" "Yes, I need to call the police. Someone was about to hit me with a baseball bat just now, and I instinctively gave him a kick. It felt like he was seriously injured. Do I need to take legal responsibility?" "Oh, then I won't hit him anymore and just call an ambulance for him." "So what if he continues to attack me?" "Then you should come over as soon as possible, right in the 9th detached villa of Tsuading Mansion." Shi Li hung up the phone and looked at the bodyguards called by Zhao Qinyi, trying to pretend to be worried, and asked, "What are you planning to do?" "Give me a fight, as long as you don't die," Zhao Qinyi said, still maintaining a lying position on the ground. He had just planned to get up, but the pain in his legs made it unbearable. Then he reminded, "Call me an ambulance first." He feels like he has a grudge against Jian Shi Li. Every time he hits, it's so heavy. How can he like himself? Sure enough, how much she used to love herself was just a pretense. She only loved her own money, she was such a gold digger. Just as he was thinking about things, the several bodyguards he brought had already been cleaned up one by Shi Li, and now they were all lying on the ground howling. In the original owner's memory, these bodyguards were the confidants of Zhao Qinyi to act recklessly. Every time he abused the original owner, these bodyguards were Zhao Qinyi's helpers. When he went to the hospital to dig up the original owner's heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys, they were also the bodyguards escorting the original owner over. So Shi Li won't have any mercy on them. The police arrived quickly, and before the ambulance arrived, they had already arrived. But when they saw several strong men lying on the ground rolling and howling, they were all filled with some astonishment. "Who just called the police?" Shi Li approached very actively and said, "I just called the police." "What is this?" "Originally, I was worried that the caller might be in danger, so I called the police so quickly." Now it seems that fortunately they came quickly, otherwise these big men might be in danger. Oh, they are the helpers. My husband has never beaten me before. Shi Li finished speaking and saw that the police still hadn't recovered from the shock. He explained somewhat awkwardly, I am an only child and my family has billions of assets to inherit. When my father was still alive, he made me learn free combat for a few years because he was worried that I would be harmed by someone seeking wealth. The police looked at Zhao Qinyi again, and their eyes became somewhat indescribable. They knew that this person had reported to the police a while ago that he had been harmed by everyone, but later they heard that he was beaten by his wife because of infidelity. Before, I just thought this man was scumbag, but it was just a mistake that every man in the world would make. Now it seems that he is not a person, and being beaten is just what he deserves. However, so many strong men were beaten up and couldn't get up, it shouldn't be something that a seemingly skinny woman could do. Are these the only people here? The police officer asked with some disbelief, and you didn't hire a servant for such a big house? Later, he was a little puzzled and said, yes, there are a few. It's just a few. Shi Li said very realistically. I haven't remembered it yet. There was so much commotion upstairs just now, why didn't anyone come up to take a look? The police have figured out the whole story, but Shi Li was still invited to the police station to record a statement before he could come back. As for several bodyguards and Zhao Qinyi, although they started the fight first, they are still seriously injured and need to go to the hospital for treatment first, so they were not taken to the police station. Instead, the police followed them and made a statement in the hospital. Several people firmly believed that it was Shi Li's intentional injury, and even threatened that there would be no reconciliation. They wanted to bring it to the end. Although Zhao Qinyi's feet hurt, she still feels a bit proud. Those bodyguards and Shi Li are not married, so she can't say anything about marital conflicts anymore. Indeed, as he guessed, the police who recorded the confession for Shi Li also told her the same. However, Shi Li was already prepared. I know you probably don't believe it, but it's okay. I can prove that I'm in self-defense, said Shi Li. She took out her phone, clicked on a video, and handed it to one of the police officers. Everything that just happened should have been recorded. Sure enough, everything that was just in the room was recorded. Occasionally, it wasn't recorded due to the large movements, but the impact was not significant. It can still be confirmed that there was no one else besides them. Why did you use your phone to record these? Did you have precautions from the beginning? The police officer asked sharply. Chapter 3. Empty Love Brain 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shi Li knew that as a police officer with professional ethics, she would definitely dig deep into the bottom, but she also had something to say. My family specializes in cosmetics, so I want to promote my own products, Shi Li said helplessly. Some young police officers who have just graduated from the police academy sympathize with her. Her father is not at home, and her husband's infidelity is not a problem. She has always been concerned about her property. Yes, based on the cases they have seen, they have summarized the causes and consequences. In their eyes, Zhao Qinyi was the kind of phoenix man who not only wanted to become a destitute, but also wanted to seek wealth and harm his life. However, because he had not yet achieved his goal and there was no evidence, they could only sympathize with this poor little sister. But now Shi Li has proven that she is indeed in legitimate defense and does not need to stay at the police station anymore. At most, out of humanitarianism, compensate the injured for some medical expenses, nothing else. But who cares about that medical expense? Waiting for them to leave, as they grew older, the experienced old police officer patted the shoulders of the young police officers to remind them to wake up. Why do you sympathize with a wealthy woman like a police officer who earns thousands of yuan a month? You just don't eat or drink for a year, and the money you save may not be enough for them to make a living. The young police officer retorted, but she's not happy at all, and she also has a husband who is watching her closely, living a life of anxiety every day. 5 or 6 strong men were beaten to the point of no fighting back by her. You should worry about his husband. The old police officer shook his head. The little police officer thinks it's also right. Although that man is not a good person, if the little sister accidentally kills someone one day, she will also bear legal responsibility. The old police officer looked at the young police officer. Oh, I'm still too young. He didn't know that the little police officer, because he was worried that one day Shirley might become too defensive, specifically searched for her phone number and added her social media account. Shi Li saw a friend's request and his avatar was a young police officer in police uniform. Without hesitation, he clicked through. Through today's simple communication, Shi Li also saw that the young police officer is a very simple and just person. Keep in touch, don't get into bad relationships, and when the original owner comes back in the future, if there is anything, it can be considered as having a way out. Zhao Qinyi stayed in the hospital for a week this time, and after coming out, she didn't dare to go back to her residence. She just wanted to quickly shake off the evil star Shi Li. However, even when it comes to divorce, it is still for lawyers to fully represent them. Shi Li had no intention of making things difficult for the other person. After all, there were grievances and debts, and she didn't want to waste it like this, otherwise it would be difficult to retaliate. However, divorce is possible, it should be the original owner's responsibility. He needs to pay back a considerable amount of money, and also needs a sum of compensation as compensation for the efforts and injuries suffered by the original owner in recent years. The lawyer called Zhao Qinyi in front of Shi Li and asked him what he meant. "Jian Shi Li, you are indeed interested in my money." The phone was hands-free and Shi Li could hear it very clearly. He sneered, "Zhao Qinyi, are you having shit in your head?" Zhao Qinyi angrily said, "Jian Shi Li, if you have the courage, please say it again. Can you say that I like your money? How dare you say that you have no brains?" Jianshi Pair surely didn't care about his incompetence and rage, but calmly said, "A year ago, there was a problem with the Zhao family's financial chain. It was me who married you with cash to help your Zhao family get through the difficulties. Without the funds I injected, what might be your Zhao family's situation now? Can you still be respectfully called Mr. Zhao now? If it weren't for having a brain full of shit, you wouldn't be able to say that I like your money. Divorce is possible. But before that, should you return that money to me first, or do you want to be a scoundrel?" Zhao Qinyi across from her fell silent, and then came the voice of Eli Li. "When you brought the funds to help Zhao get through the difficulties, I admit it, but Zhao also gave you 8% of the shares. How could you still ask me to repay the money? You can be polite." "I don't care, anyway, that's how the Jian and Zhao families discussed it back then. Zhao Qinyi, you signed 2 billion yuan IOUs, don't you think you want to default?" Shi Liqing wrote lightly, "It's okay if you want to default. Anyway, the IOU you signed has legal effect. If you don't repay it, then we'll have to file a lawsuit. However, I won't sign for divorce until the result comes out. Jian Shi Li, I know you can't let go of Qinyi, but he doesn't like you. What's the point of you holding on so tightly? It's just making him hate you even more. Why bother?" Zhao Qinyi strongly agrees with Eli's words. This Jian Shi Li is really shameless and likes to use some methods that are not up to par to attract her attention. "Jian Shi Li, why don't we get together and part ways? I can still leave you some dignity, otherwise. What do you like about me? If I don't want to pay you back, I'll make you sick. I think you want to stay in the hospital for a long time, right?" Shi Li's words made Zhao Qinyi feel stuck. Then he remembered that they were not staying together now, and no matter how powerful Shi Li was, he couldn't hit him. He instantly regained his confidence. "Jian Shi Li, no matter what you say, this marriage must be divorced." Shi Li listened to this person's words and also learned his way of speaking. "Zhao Qinyi, no matter what you say, you must repay the money you owe. And we also need to divide our shared property after marriage, and with your attitude this year, you also need to compensate me for mental damages. If you don't agree, then I won't sign it." I just don't know that Eli Li's belly can't wait. I heard that illegitimate children are particularly looked down upon. In the future, when they attend noble schools, they may also be isolated by other children or even bullied. Zhao Qinyi really wants to say that his child, who dares to bully. Which family is simple for children who may go to aristocratic schools? Most parents send their children over, and good teaching quality is one aspect, but what kind of tutoring cannot wealthy people find? More importantly, it's about networking. If you are isolated in school, the losses are incalculable. The other end of the phone remained silent, and Shi Li was not in a hurry. Instead, he said, take your time to think about it. When you think about it, come to me again. I'm not in a hurry. But I heard that Zhao Qinyi recently collaborated with someone else on a project, and I heard it has a promising future. You can wait a little longer. Maybe when that project makes money, I can get another share. The phone finally fell silent. Okay, I agree. Shi Li took the opportunity to express his request. After the property is divided, you can give me another 3 billion yuan along with the IOU and compensation. You can't be too greedy in life, otherwise be careful with flying eggs. Eli Li had already treated that money as her own, and now when she heard that Shi Li wanted so much, she didn't want to. But if she doesn't agree, Shi Li will keep dragging on without divorce, and then she won't be able to rise to the throne. Zhao Qinyi almost gritted her teeth and said the word, good. Chapter 4. Empty Love Brain 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, Shi Li doesn't want to waste any more time. Let the lawyer renegotiate the divorce agreement as just mentioned. A month later, as soon as the cooling-off period for divorce passed, Eli Li couldn't wait to accompany Zhao Qinyi and Shi Li to apply for a divorce certificate, afraid that she would go back on her word. However, Zhao Qinyi wanted to grow branches outside of the box. Since you're divorced, then you're not from the Zhao family anymore. Shouldn't your shares in the Zhao family also be transferred to me? Do you have a bad brain, or do you think everyone is just like you as a fool? Those are all deserved by the original owner, why transfer them to him? Zhao Qinyi. I can give you the market price. Do I still want to thank you for your generosity? Shi Li suppressed the urge to roll her eyes. After all, we are also sisters. I'm sure I won't let you suffer. Eli Li had a magnanimous expression on her face, which made Li almost dumbfounded. She couldn't help but sarcastically say, if I were to tell people now that I want to sell Zhao's shares, how many people would buy them at a price higher than the market price? Zhao Qinyi originally thought that Shi Li was still as foolish as before, not very familiar with business, but now it seems that she is no longer easy to deceive. Can you give me a price? If it's reasonable, I'll consider it. It seems like we're going to bleed again, but we're still showing our composure. But next, Li's words almost made them go berserk. If I don't sell it, I won't sell it for any amount of money. Then he said in a very humble tone, with your shameless level, you will definitely retaliate against me in the future. Whatever I do, you will definitely meddle in it, and maybe I will lose all my money. Zhao Qinyi is not angry even when someone says she is shameless, but rather somewhat proud. It's good if you know. Then they heard Shi Li continue, but as long as I have shares in the Zhao family, I won't do anything and there will be a continuous stream of funds. You can't deliberately take Zhao away for revenge, can you? By the way, do you still want to get a divorce certificate? If you don't, then I won't go back. I'll just wait a little longer. Maybe in a while, I can get an extra share. Sai, do you think it's possible for me to inherit the inheritance directly? Zhao Qinyi took several deep breaths before suppressing his anger. Be patient again. Just as she received her divorce certificate, Eli took out the invitation letter she had prepared early in the morning and handed it to Shi Li. Anyway, it's also a sister's. Now I'm getting married. I hope I can get your blessing. Saying you guys have shit in your head is indeed true, Shi Li said to Zhao Qinyi in a loud voice, we're just getting divorced. You can ask her to send me an invitation letter with a big belly. Then he looked at Eli Li and said, return to sisters, who will follow your sisters. This is not ancient times, and women in men's backyard should be called sisters. Then he suddenly understood. No wonder you are not ashamed to be a junior. You are still living in ancient times, and think concubines are reasonable and legal. Shi Li shook her head and sighed, as if saying that she had never seen such a foolish person before. Besides, what good wishes do you have for a stillborn baby who doesn't even have a heart rate? Jiancher Père, Zhao Qinyi, are you suffering from Mr. Ba's occupational disease? Unable to rage and addicted, right? Pucci, I don't know who brought the head first, and the others no longer suppressed it. Instead, they burst out laughing, and laughter echoed in the hall of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Zhao Qinyi felt another wave of incompetence and rage, and the people around him laughed even louder. Café, I heard you got divorced. Shi Li glanced at the man and suppressed the urge to roll his eyes, saying, are you talking nonsense? As she spoke, she glanced at the big screen in the store again, which still displayed the live broadcast of Zhao Qinyi and Yilali's wedding. Just a few days after their divorce, Zhao Qinyi couldn't wait to hold a grand wedding with Eli Li. It was probably around this time in her previous life, but at that time, the original owner didn't agree to divorce and was locked in the basement, unable to see the grandeur. In this life, Li is not uncommon to see it. The man coughed awkwardly and said, so, what are your plans for the future? Let's relax for a while, let's talk about other things later. You have to wait for the original owner to come back and make your own plans. Shi Li doesn't even plan to take care of this. However, this man also exists in the original owner's memory. His name is Xiao Ruinian, and he was the only person in his previous life who was willing to help Jian's father at any cost after her death. However, the original owner himself is not worthy, and no one can help her. Later, due to the original owner, Zhao Qinyi retaliated against him and sent him to prison unjustly. Based on the fact that Shi Li has lived for many years without ever having a romantic experience, this person, like the original owner, has a romantic brain, but he is in love with the original owner. If you have any needs, be sure to tell me. I know. Shi Li said, but she had planned it herself. Before the original owner returned, she didn't even plan to meet Guzhou again. The two of them were speechless, but Shi Li didn't want to say anything. Xiaoruinian has a lot to say but doesn't know how to say it, yet doesn't want to leave. So they just sat quietly in front of each other, until Xiaoruinian's phone rang because of work matters. But without saying a few words, he quickly hung up the phone. Shi Li said very wisely, if you're busy, hurry up and get busy. Xiaoruinian shook his head and said, these things are all done by the people below. I don't have to go. Shi Li remembered his past life, and Zhao Qinyi could easily punish him, that is, he had taken away too much of his mind due to the incident with the original owner, otherwise he would have been a character. So he disagreed and said, it's different. Some things would be more effective if you had your presence. Xiaoruinian still feels uneasy. Shi Li could only promise, if there's anything I can't solve on my own, I'll definitely come to you. Xiaoruinian didn't have to leave now, but he repeatedly told Shi Li not to be afraid of causing trouble. Once again, it was Zhao Qinyi who called to inquire about Eli Li's news. Jian Shi Li, I know you're vicious, but I never expected you to be so vicious. What did you do to become malicious? Shi Li asked inexplicably. I haven't even started my revenge on them yet, why did I start being scolded and vicious? I tell you, Jane Shi Li, I will definitely make you pay the price, Ili said fiercely. Shi Li heard the sound of doodle doodle, feeling inexplicable. Perhaps he had read too many brainless novels by the CEO. In the end, Li finally found out through other channels that it was Eli Li who had a miscarriage, but what was it about her? In the previous life, the original owner refused to divorce and caused a big fuss over their wedding. Therefore, after Ireli's miscarriage, it was reasonable for you to let the original owner take the blame, and the original owner did have that motive. But in this lifetime, Li has already divorced him. What impact does Eli have on herself? And there's no point in offending so many people. Shi Li was feeling upset when Zhao Qinyi called again. Chapter 5. Empty Love Brain 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jian Shi Li, where are you now? Zhao Qinyi questioned as soon as she spoke. Shi Li didn't rest assured and said nonchalantly, am I at home? Mom said you haven't even gone back, and I haven't found you in your few houses. Jian Shi Li, to be honest, where are you fooling around now? Zhao Qinyi asked coldly. The mother he mentioned is naturally the stepmother of the original owner. Every time the original owner heard him call her stepmother, he thought he cared about himself. It wasn't until later that the original owner found out that she was being sentimental, but they were doing it for Eli. Shi Li sneered and said, where am I and what do you care about? The shit in your head hasn't poured out yet. If you don't care about your crazy dog wife, why do you come and take care of me? You still come to my house to find me. Don't say you're divorced and suddenly find out you're in love with me, that would make me feel nauseous. You shut up, what I love is Lily. I feel disgusted at a glance at you. Zhao Qinyi was furious, this woman. Yo, it's not because of love for me, it's because of money. Without giving Zhao Qinyi a chance to refute, Shi Li continued, you said I wanted to marry you for your money. Why did I go to poverty alleviation? You wouldn't know. Look, if poverty alleviation doesn't happen now, you shouldn't be in a hurry. You can have some face, but an orphan girl. Zhao Qinyi originally wanted to say something more, but Eli suddenly interrupted him with a coquettish voice. Shi Li didn't care about their plans and hung up the phone directly. It's actually easy to guess what happened to them. It's just that Eli Li handed over the pot of miscarriage to Shi Li, and now it's just a phone call asking for punishment. But what do they want to do? Does Shi Li have to accompany them? Just hung up the phone, and soon Zhao Qinyi's call came back. Shi Li directly set Zhao Qinyi's phone to a special incoming call, with a silent ringtone. Then I went to do my own thing. When I came back from my busy schedule, there were already more than 10 unread messages and missed calls on my phone. Zhao Qinyi is the majority, with only 1 or 2 being the ones that Eli Li shows off to herself. Shi Li opened one of the messages sent by Zhao Qinyi, a long string of text. Between the lines, it's all about how malicious she is, asking her to apologize to Ellie and then turn herself in at the police station. Looking at more than 10 unread messages displayed, this boss is quite idle. But I'm not idle, how can I waste all my time explaining? If you have the ability, go report to the police. Zhao Qinyi wanted to report to the police, but Eli Li refused. Although she bribed people to give false evidence, the police are not as easy to deceive as Zhao Qinyi. But she didn't want to let Shi Li go like this. Not long after, a few messages came out online. Shi Li was scolded and became a hot topic, and many netizens compared him to a malicious female supporting character. Occasionally, there were 1 or 2 different voices, but they were quickly overwhelmed by the criticism. Shi Li didn't care about things online, but continued to make his own deployment. Firstly, it is necessary to sell all of Jane's own shares. After Jane's father passed away, the original owner had a romantic mind and liked to work as a virtuous wife for Zhao Qinyi. Therefore, Jane's family is now managed by Eli Li's mother, Eli Rong. She did a lot of things secretly, and in her previous life, many problems were exposed not long ago. Originally, they were all problems with Rong, but they pulled out the original owner, saying that the original owner was the mastermind behind Jane's and let her take the blame. After the matter had passed, Rong resorted to various means to obtain the shares in the original owner's hands. In this lifetime, Shi Li found one of Jane's shareholders and sold the shares directly, as nothing bad had yet been exposed, so it was still possible to sell at a high price. But even if she can't sell it at a high price, she will still sell it, but she can't keep it as a confidence for that mother and daughter. Shi Li has not gone out during this period of time and has not been bothered by the online slander against her. However, in order to avoid being exposed to human flesh, she still uses hacking technology to add multiple layers of protection to her information. Without any disturbance, Shi Li devoted all his time to digging a pit for the Zhao family. As for James, she has no plans to take care of her temporarily. Anyway, in a few more days, Jane's problems will be exposed, but she doesn't know which step they can take without the help of the original owner this time. But Zhao Qinyi went crazy because she couldn't find him. Chapter 6. Empty Love Brain 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The reason is that Eli Li is sick, and upon examination, it was found that there is a problem with her kidney, which urgently requires a kidney source. Just in time, Li's match with hers was perfect, but no matter how Zhao Qinyi searched, Li's match seemed to evaporate from the mortal world. Finally, just as he thought that Shi Li had been silenced for offending someone, his subordinates found Shi Li's new number. After Zhao Qinyi got through the phone, there was another series of questioning. Shi Li interrupted impatiently, "Let me talk about something." Zhao Qinyi's tone suddenly became less forceful, but it was only compared to before. "Lily is sick." After saying these words, he was not ready to speak anymore. He planned to listen to what Shi Li would say first. How could Shi Li follow his wishes? Without receiving a response from Shi Li, Zhao Qinyi coughed awkwardly and said, "The doctor said she must have a kidney transplant now, otherwise her life will be in danger at any time. After all, it's a matter of life and death. I hope you can come to the hospital." There was another moment of silence. Zhao Qinyi became a bit angry and said, "Jian Shi Li, have you been listening to me?" Another bunch of nonsense. I didn't hear Shi Li's response. Zhao Qinyi really wanted to run to the other end of the phone and grab the person directly, but unfortunately he couldn't see anyone at all, so he thought of playing the emotional card. "You are sisters, so you can stand by." Shi Li finally couldn't help himself, and without waiting for Zhao Qinyi to continue to say, she said, "No, don't you also think of yourself as the eldest son in the old days? Or your wives and concubines as sisters? But even if you want to treat your wife and concubine as sisters, we are divorced. Wake up. It's better to dream at night in the daytime. You can't be so derelict and managing such a large company and having so many employees. Jian Shi Li, don't forget that although Lily's surname is Yi, after all, she can be considered part of the Jian family. She needs a kidney to survive now. Are you, a sister, watching her die so helplessly? Why are you so vicious?" Zhao Qinyi said. "That's the same sentence again. I haven't done anything, have I? If we really follow the plan in the future, wouldn't we be called demons? Ellie and I don't have any blood relationship. My father is the only child I have, so don't talk nonsense." Zhao Qinyi on the other end of the phone paused for a moment. Well. Lily has also called you sister for so many years, how can you bear it? Why can't I bear it? A mistress who robbed someone's husband, why does she think they would pay such a big price to save her? Don't say that it is not a sister's, even if it is a sister's. Shi Li didn't kill him directly, it was all because killing was illegal. The original owner also said that she doesn't want to leave a record. Zhao Qinyi was in a hurry. If Shi Li didn't want to, he would have to start looking for the kidney source again. He didn't lack this ability, but Eli Li may not be able to wait. Jian Shi Li, Lily didn't have much to do originally. It was all because of you that she had a miscarriage, otherwise she wouldn't have been so seriously ill. You must be responsible for it. Is this all about moral kidnapping? And Eli Li is not pregnant, where did the child give her an abortion? However, she doesn't want to explain now. When someone doesn't believe you, no matter how much she explains, she will only fall into a vicious circle of self-certification. We are not sisters, so there is little chance of success in matching. It's really unnecessary. Anyway, you have money, so you might as well go to the society to find more people. Maybe you can find people who match Yilali faster. This is a fact, but Shi Li knows that Eli is not really sick at all. If she is sick, it is also in her mind and has nothing to do with her kidneys. She just wants to keep up with her life, dig out the original owner's organs, and then feed them to the dog. Unexpectedly, Zhao Qinyi said, "If this is the reason, then you don't need to worry. We have already matched you, and yours is suitable. We are currently at Xuanji Hospital, so you can come over later and prepare in advance." Shi Li looked at the phone that had already been hung up. When did I agree? Shaking her head, she immediately sent a message to the young police officer, explaining what had just happened and asking what she should do now. The little police officer immediately replied. "Do you have anything to prove?" Shi Li sent the recorded conversation with Zhao Qinyi just now. It was a long time before the young police officer replied. "If there is only this recording, although it may not necessarily result in a sentence, we can investigate, and if we can find out that they did indeed give you a match. The rest of the story goes without saying it explicitly, as everyone knows." However, Shi Li knew that this time it must have been Eli Li's nonsense, and she wasn't really sick. Anyway, if she just casually says a few words, Zhao Qinyi will believe it, so how could she do it in vain? Although he cannot be sentenced, he can still be detained for a few days. Shi Li didn't hesitate to call the police. "Officer, someone did a kidney source match for me without my understanding, and I suspect he is selling human organs." After receiving the alarm call, the police station attached great importance and the deputy director personally came over. "This is a big deal, maybe he can make a contribution. He has been in the position of director for too long, and it's time to move on." Soon there was a news online that the CEO of Zhao was taken away and detained by the police, causing a sharp drop in Zhao's shares. But soon, things turned around again. Chapter 7. Empty Love Brain 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 8. Empty Love Brain 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shi Li looked at the comments section, but in fact, most netizens just eat a melon online and rarely comment. And underneath this video, there are also some positive comments, but in the comments section full of water soldiers, there are occasionally a few rebuttals, so the comments below are also surrounded by some people. So it leads to many people being afraid to speak. Shi Li casually found someone who asked him to donate his kidney and replied, "I have a grudge against her. Why do I donate my kidney to her?" Then there are dozens of comments below this comment. They all spoke in a grand tone. When has it been? You're still being cautious there. This is a living human life. You can't ignore topics like human life just because of this conflict. That's all you're waiting for, Shi Li smiled contemptuously. Turn on the computer, randomly find a template for a kidney source matching form, then fill in the identity information of the dozens of people who commented on you and Eli Li, and send them one for each person. No matter how these people feel when they receive electronic bills, they quickly choose one of them, hack into his computer, and use his account to send out the bill. What do these people who received the order think? Shi Li doesn't know, but they haven't posted any comments online anymore. The Zhao family has been searching for Shi Li on their own for a long time, but they haven't seen anyone. This time, Shi Li showed great compassion and allowed them to meet him. Shi Li knew what they were looking for him for, but he wanted to sign a letter of understanding for Zhao Qinyi and Yilali to come out. Shi Li only agreed to give Zhao Qinyi a letter of understanding. As for Eli Li, she can only apologize and stay inside for a few more days. This kind of game can continue to be played as long as Zhao Qinyi comes out. As expected, as soon as Zhao Qinyi came out, someone told him about things online. Zhao Qinyi naturally wouldn't think that someone as kind as Eli Li would falsely accuse someone, it could only be evidence fabricated by Shi Li. He will definitely teach her a lesson, but not now. The most urgent thing now is to replace Lily's kidney, so Zhao Qinyi approached the water soldier who had been ordered and asked him to donate her kidney. That person is also a smart one, who promised well in advance. They said they would pick themselves up to the hospital when Shi Li was released on bail. As soon as the others left, he packed up and ran away. Thinking that Shi Li is so seriously ill, in a few more months, maybe he will be dead and he will be safe then. When Zhao Qinyi realized that she couldn't find anyone, they didn't know where they had gone. Shi Li, who was constantly monitoring their movements, seized the right moment and issued another kidney matching order. Like the same person, he specially recommended it to Zhao Qinyi. This person is quite tough, but when Zhao Qinyi found him to explain his purpose, he refused without hesitation. When Zhao Qinyi became angry, he immediately tied the person up and took them to the hospital. Of course, as a warning from the past, even if the person agreed, he would still tie them up and take them directly to the hospital. Now we are waiting to release Emily on bail and have them undergo a transplant surgery. After everything was ready, he didn't wait for Shi Li, but he waited for the plainclothes police. And they seemed to have stepped on it, heading straight to the operating room. As soon as they arrived, Zhao Qinyi and his bodyguards didn't have time to react, so they kicked open the door of the operating room. The target audience is several people wearing surgical gowns, as well as men struggling violently tied to the operating bed. What do you do? Because they were all in plain clothes, Zhao Qinyi thought they were coming to treat the trouble. She looked at a few people with dangerous eyes, thinking about the chances of winning against them with her bodyguards. She saw these people controlling everyone present with lightning speed. Zhao Qinyi's hands were clasped back, with no resistance, and she could only shout, "Who are you? Do you know who I am? Let go of me quickly." The leader of these people who broke in said, "We have received reports from enthusiastic citizens that there are people selling human organs here. Some people were taken into police cars in a grand manner, but were also watched by many people. Some even posted this scene online. Oh my God, didn't he just get caught? Why did he come out again? Upstairs, you should ask him why he's going in again." There seem to be several doctors with them. He can't really be a criminal who sells human organs, can he? Don't beat the pace. Do you know how much profit Zhao Group earns every year? The Zhao family is also a wealthy family, so there is no need to do these things. That's right, when someone is poor, they only have money left. I think you're just jealous. It must be that wicked girl Jian Shirley who played a prank again. How do you feel like she's everywhere? She's like a troublemaker, making people nauseous. During Shirley's busy schedule, he occasionally took some time to take a look at the comments. However, when he saw this paragraph, he became somewhat dissatisfied and retorted below. Did I ask him to bind someone? Or did I ask him to go to the hospital to cut someone's kidney? No matter what he did, I will be blamed. I am not his mother, and I should be responsible for educating him to be a good man. Although he only reported himself to the police and told the young police their specific location, if he didn't do those things, who could catch him? However, the Navy is using money to do things, and no matter how well they are justified, they can still stir up trouble and entangle themselves, inevitably splashing dirty water on the pair's head. But soon the police issued a notice explaining why Zhao Qinyi was arrested, which indirectly proved Shi Li's innocence. No matter how much they guide public opinion now, it's useless, and even many naval forces are starting to rebel. The people who used to curse the most fiercely in the comments section suddenly turned against each other, saying that their previous comments were all because they had received money and were asked to do so. As for who was directing them, it goes without saying. These people are all electronic orders that were successfully matched with outdated pairs for kidney source matching before. They are now very worried, afraid that if Zhao Qinyi comes out and finds them, they may not have such good luck to be rescued. For their personal safety in the future, these people have tacitly chosen to report to the police. After receiving the report, the police station attached great importance to it. But when I saw the electronic records of those people, I searched and searched again, but couldn't find which hospital or appraisal institution it was. I was wondering if it was from any of their organizations that the appraisal was conducted. Finally, there was a young police officer who enjoyed surfing the internet. He glanced at him and his expression was somewhat indescribable. Isn't this just a randomly downloaded image online and then changed to their identity information? I don't know who was so bored, but I even managed to get so many photos. However, as a young person who enjoys surfing, I still have some understanding of what has happened online these days. It should be some kind of righteous hacker who couldn't bear to see it and deliberately did it to scare them. When this news reached Zhao Qinyi, who was being interrogated, his teeth were about to crack. Chapter 9. Empty Love Brain 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. One of the officers interrogating him told him that when the order was fake, he also reminded him. You should be very clear about our process. Before we send someone for detention, we will do a physical examination for the suspect to see if they are suitable for detention. Since Shi Li will be taken into custody, it proves that her health is very good and all her physical indicators are normal. Zhao Qinyi was dumbfounded, he didn't know if he should be happy. He kept hypnotizing himself, and he should be happy that Lily was healthy, but looking at the surrounding environment, no matter how much he deceives himself, he cannot be happy. Finally, Zhao Qinyi went out because the Zhao family found the victim and paid him to sign a letter of understanding. However, the Zhao family now has a very strong opinion towards Zhao Qinyi and Shi Li. If it weren't for Shi Li's mother who is the CEO of Jane's, who would be willing to give these two a good face? The old man of the Zhao family has already started looking for other grandchildren, intending to cultivate an outstanding heir again. They all didn't know that while they were in a state of anxiety, Shi Li used the cash he had obtained from Jane's and the money he had received from Zhao Qinyi to acquire a large number of individual shares. In addition, Shi Li now holds more than 20% of the shares and has become the second largest shareholder of Zhao's company. And she is still lobbying other shareholders to transfer the shares to her, making the price easy to negotiate. But these are just things on the surface of Shi Li Ming. When Zhao Qinyi learned about Shi Li's actions during this period, she was filled with disdain. No matter how much it is collected, the Zhao family holds 52% of the shares. Even if she has the ability to persuade all shareholders outside of the Zhao family to transfer the shares to her, what will happen? The Zhao family still dominates, and Zhao Qinyi is still in charge of the Zhao family. However, this is also a good opportunity. Zhao Qinyi also started preparing to acquire the shares held by the minority shareholders, but those shareholders were willing to see him for the sake of being part of the Zhao family. As for anything else, the minority shareholders never thought about it. The key is that Miss Jian gave too much. No one is foolish, they must have chosen the side that is most advantageous to them. Zhao Qinyi, a person whose assets have severely shrunk after divorce, how can she afford a high price? But Jian Shi Li is different. After divorce, she became even wealthier and was willing to pay 30% more than the original price of her shares. With such a grandiose level, Zhao Qinyi couldn't keep up. In the end, Li won the throne as the largest shareholder of the Zhao family with 51% of the shares. For this purpose, major shareholders were specially gathered to the company for a meeting. At the moment Zhao Qinyi saw Jian, her eyes seemed to be about to kill someone. It was all this slut. If it weren't for her unwillingness to donate her kidney obediently, how could he have caused so much trouble? Now the old man of the Zhao family has a very strong opinion about this heir, and has started to cultivate other grandchildren. This makes Zhao Qinyi want to cut Shi Li into pieces, and his tone is naturally not too good. What are you doing here? I'm here for the shareholders' meeting, otherwise what am I doing here? Shi Li chuckled lightly, then glanced at the person next to him with a puzzled expression. Ms. Shi Li, are you a shareholder of the Zhao family? I came here as the wife of Chen Yigu, Shi Li said, looking at Shi Li with pride, as if saying, I am the CEO's wife of Zhao Group, so you should be jealous. Shi Li seemed to have no feeling at all and nodded in a serious manner, saying, "Is that so? So Mr. Zhao and his wife are really in love, even attending shareholder meetings with his wife." The faces of other shareholders were not very good, after all, for such an important matter. Zhao Qinyi, as the CEO, surprisingly brought an insignificant person, making it seem like attending a cocktail party and even having to bring a female companion. Although there is no explicit rule prohibiting bringing someone over, it is not appropriate to bring your wife over for important occasions. But Zhao Qinyi doesn't care about the thoughts of these shareholders at all, so what about dissatisfaction? This is the Zhao family, and they have absolute control over it. Looking at Shi Li, he sarcastically said, "It's no use being jealous. Even if we're divorced, I wouldn't be able to bring you to such an important meeting. Shareholders have also seen this, Mr. Zhao." Shi Li pointed his finger inexplicably and continued, "We are such a large listed company, and there are still so many employees to support, as well as those taxes. We cannot afford to collapse, otherwise not only everyone present here, but also the country will suffer a great loss. Therefore, we must find someone with good brains to take on the role. So I suggest finding someone capable to take over the position of Zhao's CEO." As soon as these words were spoken, Zhao Qinyi seemed to have heard a big joke. Although the shares of the Zhao family were not in the hands of one person, as long as the grandfather was still there and had not explicitly stated that he wanted to change the heir, they dared not openly support anyone except him. But he overestimated the Zhao family and underestimated Shi Li too much. So when he heard the announcement that Zhao's CEO would be replaced by a former vice president surnamed Li, he was incredulous. Over the years, Zhao Chen has been restless and often goes to hang out with Eli Li. When he can't finish anything, he just roars and then asks Vice President Li to wipe his butt. Vice President Li is very capable, but due to his limited shareholding, he can only be suppressed and frustrated by Zhao Qinyi, a young man with little ability. So when he heard that he was about to become the new CEO, besides Zhao Qinyi's disbelief, Vice President Li was no better than him. Shi Li, I know that due to the divorce, you now hate Chen Yaij out of love, but you can't do this either. Just say how much profit Chen Yaij has brought to everyone along the way with the company. You are doing this without distinction between public and private. Ellie looked like you shouldn't make trouble without reason. Zhao Qinyi touched Ilali's head and comforted her, saying, "Lily doesn't need to talk nonsense to her. My position as CEO is not something she can dismiss just because she wants to. What do you think you are? Dare to come here and show off your strength?" Shi Li shook his head and said, "You have all had so many scandals, how many negative impacts have you had on the company? You don't have any points in your mind. Besides, I hold 51% of the shares in the current Zhao family. Do you think I can dismiss you? And as I just said, Zhao's CEO must not be someone with a weak brain. And you have a bad brain, I am the shareholder here. In the past, I didn't want to participate, but now no one dares to stop me from participating." This is in response to Zhao Qinyi's sarcasm just now, saying that he won't take her on such an important occasion. Zhao Qinyi's expression was sarcastic because he had been talking to Eli about everything since the meeting started, and he didn't listen carefully to the content of the meeting. Therefore, when Li said that he owned 51% of the shares, he didn't believe it. How could you possibly hold 51% of the shares? You should know that besides the Zhao family, the total number of other shareholders is less than 50%, which is why Zhao Qinyi is so confident. So, your brain is not working well. Chapter 10. Empty Love Brain 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That's why I said your brain is not working well, Shi Li shook her head helplessly. When I spoke to the shareholders before, didn't I mention that Mr. Zhao Qingsong has already transferred his 10% stake to me? What are you saying? Zhao Qinyi didn't wait for Shi Li to say anything before picking up the phone. After a while, I heard him roaring into the phone. Why do you want to transfer your shares? You don't know that I have a grudge against Shi Li. Have you asked for my opinion when you do this? You're not afraid that Grandpa will know? After Zhao Qinyi roared, his hands drooped weakly. Others may not be able to hear, but Shi Li can clearly hear what the person on the other end of the phone is saying. Yeah, I transferred the shares, and I didn't mean to transfer them to Jian Shirley, but who made her give more money? I know you've been thinking about inheriting those shares from me in the future, but I don't want to. Your grandfather knows what's going on. He didn't choose me as his son and had to cultivate you as his heir. I think he's a fool. And now that all my shares have been sold, he can still kill me. I'm not the only child, you already have the identity of inheritor of the Zhao family, so you don't need me to pave the way for you anymore. You can also obtain a lot of resources. Your younger brother can't do it anymore. I have to consider her, Qinyi. The person on the other end of the phone wanted to say something more, but Zhao Qinyi couldn't control her emotions anymore. With a loud bang, his phone was smashed to the ground and shattered into pieces. Shi Li looked at the phone that had already been dismembered and didn't know if it was due to poor quality or Zhao Qinyi's excessive strength. Jian Shirley, more than a year ago, you had already used this method to snatch away Qinyi once. Do you still want to repeat the same trick now? Emily looked at Shi Li sadly, tears streaming down her face. Zhao Qinyi glared fiercely at Shi Li, almost gritting his teeth and saying, Jian Shirley, do you think doing so much can catch my attention? No, you will only make me feel more nauseous. The major shareholders around were all looking at these two people with indescribable expressions, and they couldn't figure out where they saw that Jian Dong liked Zhao Qinyi. If you say your appearance is quite good, but you're already so wealthy, why do they have to find an ancestor for themselves? Why not find a younger person who can also deceive others? Zhao Qinyi never received such treatment in her lifetime. She felt very uncomfortable and said a harsh word before leaving with Eli. After Zhao Qinyi was dismissed from his position, he could still secure other important positions in the Zhao family with his own shares. However, he was unwilling to submit to someone who was not as good as him before. I came up with the idea of setting up a new company to work alone. As the former president of the Zhao family, he was very familiar with what the Zhao family was originally operating, so even if he worked alone, he chose the field he was familiar with. It's just that he's going to compete with Zhao for orders in the future, but although he's confident, he still has some self-awareness. Zhao is a large company with a large production volume, which can meet the needs of other large companies. If he only invests with his own cash, he will not be able to compete with Zhao. Even if he does, he may not be able to eat it. Recalling his father's words again, I have already sold the shares, can he still kill me? He felt that he could also make a bet. He believed that with his talent and contacts, he could also create the next Zhao family, a Zhao family that was completely up to him. Shi Li quickly learned that he wanted to transfer the 10% share in his hand, but she didn't pay much attention. She knew that with Zhao Qinyi's attitude towards her, he would definitely not transfer it to her, even if it was useless for more money, let alone she didn't want to give more money. Selling to someone is not selling, as long as it is not in his hands. Otherwise, how much money the company will earn in the future will be a part of Zhao Qinyi's, and thinking about it will make him very angry. However, she still passed on the matter of Zhao Qinyi's transfer of shares to Mr. Zhao. The old man was already worried about it during this period and has grown much older. Now, he has even been angry and sent to the ICU. After waking up, he threatened that Zhao Qinyi would not be his descendant of the Zhao family, and he should not be approached for anything in the future. Zhao Qinyi remained unaffected and continued to go her own way. After his company started, he really started working hard, finding people to eat and pulling orders every day. Everyone in the circle knows the statement made by the old man of the Zhao family, while some outsiders who don't know are willing to make a list for Zhao Qinyi in order to climb up to the Zhao family. But those are just some small orders, Zhao Qinyi has no interest in them at all. He is the CEO, and when he takes orders below 10 million, he always lowers his own value. Zhao Qinyi is not doing well here, and Jane's has also encountered many problems. The most serious thing is that some people started to feel a little itchy on their faces after using Jane's newly released cosmetics, and later their faces started to turn red, with many red blisters growing in the end. This person usually likes to watch videos online, and this situation was posted online by her, with the intention of finding a solution, but it resonated with many people. Those who have previously used this new product from Jane's have more or less suffered from facial problems. They originally thought they were allergic. But now, this is not my own problem, is it? So many videos online instantly appeared accusing Jane's Cosmetics of having a bad face. Shi Li commented on one of the videos as he watched the excitement and didn't mind the big picture. What's the use of just sending videos? Go call a dedicated phone to complain. So someone really went to complain, and someone was sent to bring samples for testing. In the end, it was found that the lead and mercury in Jane's set of products exceeded the standard. Online, there has been a spontaneous boycott of Jane's and demands for a refund. When this new product was just released, it was well advertised and sold a lot, and the refund was also a considerable amount. So when Shi Li received the call again, it was from the good stepmother of the original owner, E-Erong. Xiaoli, what have you been busy with lately? Shi Li seemed incredulous, and the yin-yang monster said, you don't know what I've been busy with lately. Of course, I'm busy proving my innocence. Thanks to your daughter and son.in.law, I've been active in short videos lately, and it's not that I accidentally got caught and had my kidneys cut off. I'm very busy. E-Erong pretended to love the younger generation, but she was helpless. Listen to your tone, this is a resentment against your sister. Where is the overnight feud between sisters? You are a sister, don't worry about your sister's ignorance. When she was regarded as a sister's by others, Li felt sick. I am the only girl in my family, but I am not a sister's with her. Besides, I don't want to be associated with a junior and lose the price. It seems there is still resentment. E-Erong sighed heavily and said, let's talk about this later.